بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. As we are leading up to next Tuesday or this coming Tuesday's Black Imams Roundtable, we're in the test phase of a new aspect that we're going to add to the Black Imams Roundtable. We're trying something different. So we want to try to work out the kinks before we actually have the first session. So we're coming up with ways to really see how this will go. And so we're having these open mic pop-ups. That's what we should have called it, an open mic pop-up. So today's open mic pop-up is called the Asharis. And myself and Imam Naeem, I'm waiting for him to come on. We're going to have an open mic discussion about who are the Asha'ira or the Asharis. What does it mean to be Ash'ari, and what is their methodology? And what opposes the methodology of Al-Ash'ira? And why is that significant? Why should we listen to someone who says, I'm Ash'ari? Why should we want to be Ash'ari? So that's a discussion we're going to have for the next hour, 45 minutes to an hour. And we welcome all of you to participate because we're actually testing out something for the Black Imams Roundtable. So this is just us having a family discussion about things that we deem important. We can learn in the process, and we can figure out what is best practice, what are the best practices for this new format we're going to use in the Black Imams Roundtable. So I put the link. All of you are welcome if you have some things you want to say about the subject, Al-Asha'ira, the Ash'aris. You're welcome. I just asked several things. Be clothed properly. Try not to have a bunch of background noise. And be as respectful as you can. Even if you have something you want to say that's disagreeable, I don't care about that. Just be respectful in your disagreement, right? You're welcome to disagree, and it's fine with me. And we can discuss your disagreement. Just be respectful. That's all. I mean, ultimately, it's a waste of time to be disrespectful because we have the controls. All we're going to do is block you out. So if you really want to get your point across, just be respectful and state what you have to state, right? So I'm waiting for the Imam Genius, and there is also our brother. No phone in. Come on, Shaquille. Come on and talk some stuff. You got to come through the video. There's no phone in. But you're online. All you got to do is press on the link and come on in. You got internet, or you wouldn't be online. Okay, sister, how you think Brachet? I'm sorry if I'm chopping your name up. We waiting for the book too. I'm a background dancer, not a lead singer. Translation, I'm afraid. Stop it. I'm always messing with my brown brother. So I'm just waiting for the other brothers. If anyone would like to come on and have some comments, ahlan wa sahlan, you're welcome. But I think this is an important way that we get out the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah in Aqidah, in the Creed. We said in the Creed, Ahl Sunnah in Aqidah, in the tenets of faith, are Al-Asha'ira wal Maturidiyya. So we're going to talk about who they are and why, uh, and how is it important, especially for us that are learning uh, traditional Islam or classical Islam, whatever term you would like to use, for the first time. That's the best thing because you can get it right from the door. I was listening to Imam Naeem the other day, and he was talking about the stages that people be going through, right? To finally get to a proper understanding of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah and what that means. So I would like to hear his discussion with all of us. We can share it. Uh, I don't notice everybody has some things to say in comments, and now you can come out. It's quiet. I don't understand. You know, the people like to comment and stay behind the keyboard. Now you can come out and you can talk. You don't have to, be a keyboard gangster. Still, you can come out. Nah, I'm just having fun. Don't pay me no attention when I crack jokes like that. It's my failed sense of humor. Tayyip, where is Imam Naeem? Where is the other brothers? Let me check. Is Safe behind the keyboard? How can one learn and increase knowledge according to the Ash'ari school? Actually, you should find a teacher who learned the knowledge of Aqidah in a proper Sunni way. Come on, Jomo Williams, jump in, homie. Come on, join the party. There's the link, Imam Naeem, come on. Join the party, let's go. We're just beginning. We're only a few minutes in. Late as usual, pay your $50. So that's the best way I would say. Find a teacher who is Ash'ari, who learned properly through trustworthy teachers, and that's how you can increase your knowledge about the school. You can learn about its scholars, you can learn about the books, you can learn about the methodology, you can learn about the foundations, and that's the best way. That's what I would say. What's up with the car stuff? Where's the big library?
Big library. You trying to be funny? Our library can't compete with y'all.
He said us Hanabali not invited. Us Hanabali can come get some too. Come on. We talking about Ash'ari, but we can talk about it. Bring it on. Island was silent. We black. Just mix it up. All love. Come on. Join in. Why not?
I just tuned in. What I miss?
Oh, nothing. We was waiting for you. So you can start off talking about the Ash'aris. Who are they? What are they? You already there. So then others will join in. So I'll start off with a question for you. What's that? You tick-tock talking?
The turn signal. They don't usually like to use these things in Pittsburgh, but I still use them.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the way to the masjid, so I'll be on my computer soon, inshallah.
Okay, well, in the meanwhile, you can roll, this is informal. So the Ash'aris, who are the Ash'aris?
Oh, that's easy. Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The people of the Sunnah in the community.
So
you want a different answer?
Yeah, I mean, why should someone say I'm Ash'ari? Why is that something that we should be talking about? And what is an Ash'ari? Like Ahl Sunnah, why I can't just be Muslim? Why I gotta mention Ash'ari? Or why is the need of Ash'ari? What's that all about?
Well, the answer to that, has many different layers. I mean, if we were living in a Islamic environment, or should I say, could I say that now we are living in a pseudo Islamically toxic environment where
Wow.
there's a lot of ideas out there in the name of Islam, but they are actually anti-Islamic. So they're anti-Islamic in the dress of, or in the clothing of being Islamic. And one of those things, primarily in our environment, is Wahhabism. You know, which is a whole different belief system from Al Islam, but it's parading and masquerading itself around as if it is Islam. And so we have a lot of deprogramming to do as well as reprogramming. So some of the deprogramming we have to do is we have to call out those aspects of this Wahhabism that's masquerading as Islam, and call it out and attach it back to its original labels and titles that the scholars of the past have given it. Like, for example, Wahhabism has uh, in their belief, they have uh, an aspect of tajseen, which they give Allah, human or bodily characteristics. That's un-Islamic, and so we have to call that out and specify it. It's just giving a name or a title to that which is already there.
Mm,
So the opposite of that is, in general, we call Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaat, or the short title Sunni Muslim, right? And a Sunni Muslim or Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaat has a specific belief system, and part of that belief is that we do not give Allah any attributes of creation.
mhm,
And one of the main schools that organized that, or or specified it or codified it, is the Ashari school. And the Ashari school is named after Imam Abu Hassan al-Ashari. And so it's not like Imam Abu Hassan al-Ashari created anything. Like we said in our class yesterday, he only specified and organized what was already there. And I gave the example of someone who makes a cake recipe, right? They didn't create the concept of a cake. They just told you how many eggs to put in there, how much flour, how to preheat the oven, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't create it, but they may have, codified a specific recipe with a specific formula, and it and that whole concept of making a cake will take the name, or will be attributed to that person, even though they didn't create it, but they just, took it to the next level. And this is what Imam Abu Hassan al-Ashari has done. And so after his time, the the Islamic belief in general has been attributed to him, even though everyone knows he's not the creator of
mm. So, as a Sunni, so to call oneself Ash'ari is actually saying that I follow the methodology of early Sunni Muslims before the codification of the science of al Aqidah, or the science of the creed. Is that what you're saying?
it. Right.
Mm.
And
So,
that's how the scholars defined it, because they said that's what he did. That he just took the belief of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of the Salaf who came before them, and connected us to it and codified it and specified it. And because he did such a great job at it, and because he was living during the time of a big deviant group, the Mu'tazila, and he was a scholar in their school, uh, before that, he actually revived the deen and revived the proper creed of the Muslims by not only leaving the Mu'tazila school, but by going out of his way to write books and openly refute it. and he did such a good job at it that he was considered a mujaddid of the third generation, the revival of the faith of the third century.
Oh boy, this just got spicy. You see somebody in the place?
Yeah, yeah, I see him.
Uh, the
Salam
Imam
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum
Muhammad
wa rahmatullahi wa
Abdullah
barakatuh.
Amin Al-Maliki. I'm getting ready to have some fun. Get ready, y'all. Boy, I got him in the ring. Boy, this is going to be spicy. No, I'm joking. All right. So, as you mentioned that, and Brother Diaz, I see your question, but I want to keep focus where we at. We could talk about the Maturidi school later. Right now, we're talking about the Ash'ari school. And it's well known among us that Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah hum al Asha'ira wal Maturidiyya. As the great Imam Muhammad Murtada al-Zabidi mentioned in his commentary on Ihya Ulumuddin, as Imam al-Haddad mentioned in his book of assistance. So we're very well aware of the Maturidi school and the Ash'ari school. Both are Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, but that's not the subject of our discussion right now. So, but we will get to it. But that's not, I don't want to be diverted from what we're talking about. So that was Imam Naim's port. Imam Muhammad Abdullah Amin Al-Maliki. What do you understand from being an Ash'ari in Aqidah? And you mentioned it earlier today. I heard you were talking, and you were talking about the Malikis and Ash'ari. Why is that important? Why are you talking about it? And what is intended by it?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam wa taslima. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Afdalu salatu tamu taslima ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. ورضي الله تعالى أن أنا سادة تابعين وعلماء عاملين وأئمة 40 مجتهدين مقلديهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I feel the purpose of me mentioning it on the many platforms that I'm on is the purpose of education and weeding out and dissecting out these people who may have the intention to kind of like distort the traditional methodology of the Maliki method itself in regards to creed. All right, so and that's why I always ask the question, and it's the question is also related to the chain, whatever chain that they go through. Who in that chain that's in your Maliki chain is not an Ashari? Who in the school of Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal is not an Ashari? Period. Between Imam Ibn Abi Zayd Qarwani and Imam Malik, all the way throughout history. You know what I'm saying? And if so, then how are they related to the Ashari school? And how is the Ashari school related to Imam Malik? Because they not in any disagreement whatsoever with the creed of the Salaf. That, you know, that's my only purpose, you know what I mean, for education.
So when you say the Salaf, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the Tabi'in, the Tabi'i who learned from the Tabi'i who learned from the Sahaba. So I'm talking about Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, and their students.
So when you define the Salaf, and we're always talking about it, are you only defining the Salaf in terms of those three generations or in terms of time?
I'm defining the Salaf in terms of those three generations and time.
Okay, so in terms of time, where do you count among the Salaf? Up to when? What time?
Up to 300 Hijra.
Right. So that would include, I'm asking you that, just guiding you along as we talk about it, so that we're all on the same page. So that would actually include Imam al-Ash'ari as well as Imam al-Maturidi, if you count the Salaf according to time.
Yes.
Okay, good. So So actually, when we say Ash'ari, we would be talking about the creed of the Salaf or one of the great Imams of the Salaf. Would that be correct?
That'll be we're talking about the creed of the Salaf.
Right. Okay, so I'm just making sure we all on the same page in our understanding and clarifying terms, because a lot of times when we have these discussions, terms are not clear. And it's nice to be impressive and talking about things that we don't understand, but it's important that we understand what we're talking about. So you mentioned the Maliki school. Why is it, since you mentioned the chains of narration, and both of y'all are Maliki, I'm a closet Maliki, so I guess I don't count. Right. Right. Why is it today that something, as you mentioned, was continuous in the Asanid al-Malikiyah, in the chains of narration of the Maliki scholars, that in creed they were Ash'ira? Why is that the subject of confusion among many Malikis today? And when I say many, especially in the West, because from experience, I notice that a lot of the modern day Malikis that are out front or on public platforms are lukewarm in this discussion about the Ash'ira. Why is that? And I would like, let Imam Naeem go first, and then maybe you, Imam Muhammad, so that we can have this conversation.
I think because, as we know, in Islam, there's three aspects, or more specifically, a foundation, an usul, which is the creed that we're talking about right now, or the Aqidah, and we have branches. And the outward branch is fiqh, or the outward practice of Islam. And one of the imams of the outward branch is Imam Malik, and the school developed, you know, that's attributed to him. And so you have a lot of people that, historically, as both of you have said, that most of the scholars of the Maliki school, in other words, the outward practice, were also Ashari in Akida, which is the foundation, which is the usul. But so it's almost like, even though they're two different areas, one is dealing with outward practice, the other one is dealing with belief. But you'll be hard pressed, and you could probably only name one or two people that have a question mark to what I'm about to say next to their name in this regard. But if a person was Maliki, it's automatically assumed that they were also Ashari, right? But nowadays, in our modern times, you have people who are going, to certain places and under certain people, learning the Maliki school, but along with that, they're learning this new modern Wahhabi creed. So they're saying that they're Maliki in fiqh, but they are actually Wahhabi in creed. And they're not going to call themselves Wahhabi. They're going to call themselves something else, Athari or something else. But when you zoom in on it, their creed, their belief system didn't exist more than 250 years ago. It was innovated by Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. So their creed is of the Wahhabi creed, even though they claim to be Maliki in fiqh. So you have like a mix match going on here, which is a break from the tradition. So this is why you're seeing that right now.
Sayyidi, what's your thoughts on that? Because you talked about it seems as though the base of your earlier discussion today was your Facebook Live was based on the fact that what he said, some people are saying I'm Athari in creed, and you mentioned that this was contradicting the creed of Imam Malik, which was the actual creed of the Ash'ira, because Imam al-Ash'ari, his creed come from the likes of great Imams like Imam Malik. So you mentioned that. So what do you see in towards what Imam Naeem mentioned about this divide among Maliki and fiqh and contradicting the creed of the Ash'ariyah in Aqidah when it was a traditional known format of Maliki is Ash'ari. And just to give you from the Shafi'i side of that issue, our great Imam Tajuddin as-Subki mentioned in his Tabaqat, which is Tabaqat al-Shafi'iyyat al-Kubra, the biography of the great Shafi'i scholars, and he was talking about because the Shafi'is are Ash'ari, and as the Malikis were Ash'ari, the Shafi'is were Ash'ari. But he mentioned specifically the Malikis, and he said, we don't know of any Maliki, and this was he died in the year 771. So you're talking about the 8th century. He said, and he was a great scholar in Egypt and in Sham, as he took the place of his father, Sheikh al-Islam Taqiyuddin as-Subki. He said, we don't know of any Maliki except that he is Ash'ari in Aqidah. So that's up to the 8th century. And he was a definitive scholar who knew Malikis and Ash'aris was in Egypt, right? So that was your issue. What do you see happening here?
What I see happening here, the issue that has been that you have a contingent of Malikis that claim to be Athari Creed. Their claim is based off the Andalusian school, which includes Imam Ibn Hams, who was Maliki first, then he became Shafi'i, then he made a vow to revive the Zuhri school.
Oh, you're talking about Ibn Hazm?
Huh?
You're talking about Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri?
Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri, you know what I mean, to revive the Zuhri school. Mm-hmm. Which, as a result of his debates with Imam Baji, Imam Baji, the countless debates that from Imam Baji spread Ash'ari creed throughout Al-Andalus. As a result, many of Imam Ibn Hazm's books was burnt. Many of them was burnt. And he used to try to use as a proof in his debate the fact that he was given inheritance and he had money and he had influence as a proof against his debates with Imam Baji. Well, as a result, that didn't fly, and it didn't fly with the people of Al-Andalus, nor with the Khulafa that was established in Al-Andalus after it had established a Khalifa being from after being an annex of the Umayyad dynasty. All right, so the a lot of these brothers, they have a teacher who went to Saudi, learned in Saudi, but his foundationary base was Ash'ari. His whole family is Ash'ari, and he's from Ahlul Bayt. And I'm only mentioning this because a lot of brothers that learn from this institution, they're sincere. Many of them are Ash'ari and Creed, and many of them are Maliki. However, the issue with the quote unquote authority among them, what you know, most of these people used to be Salafi, and they chose a method, and they chose the method of Imam Malik. Maybe after reading a excerpt from Dr. Umar Farouk on the Amal Ahlul Medina, or from someone else who explained the Amal Ahlul Medina, and they came to the conclusion that following the Maliki method is more closer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Salaf than any other method. So you know what I'm saying, this is why I believe this phenomenon has come from. And as a result, instead of using the usul of the Amal Ahlul Medina, they using another method of usul that relates to the validity and the strength of hadith, which, according to the Amal Ahlul Medina, only hadith that are used are the hadith that are and coincide with and agree with the practice of the people of Medina. So as a result, this was not only to eliminate themselves from being Ash'ari, because Ash'aris are talked about by the Wahhabiyya, right? You know what I'm saying? Some plenty of erroneous statements and erroneous rumors and lies. It's talked about the what the Asheris believe. You know what I'm saying? What, you know what I'm saying? All of these lies that are untrue. That when you actually convey to them what the Asheri creed is, the first thing that come out of most of their mouth is that I never heard it explained like that.
So let me ask you a question. Then, Farouk, come on, join in. It's open mic. You can ask the great Maliki, American, Mukallidun, whatever you like. They in the hot seat. They can't run, right? No more hiding behind the keyboard. Come on, jump in. Get them. Shoot some questions at them. The door is open. Hey, now here's a question. What is the responsibility, with all you said, of the Maliki brothers who are Maliki and have a sanid to the madhab of Imam Malik? What is their responsibility when they see this distortion of their school? Because if you're saying this is synonymous things, and all of Ahl Sunnah, whether they are Maliki, Shafi, Hanafi, we all know that Aqidah and Fiqh are two separate sciences, but for Ahl Sunnah, those three main sciences, Al-Aqidah, Al-Fiqh, and At-Tasawwuf, have joined together as essential elements of practice. Right?
So I have to leave and come back, man. SubhanAllah, somebody.
Well, I can hear you. Oh boy, here we go. As soon as it get hot, something go wrong with my phone. Right now, I'm joking. I don't pay me no attention. I'm enjoying my Maliki brothers. Right. So what is the responsibility of the Maliki brothers in this regard? Did you see this happening to your school? Y'all have a sanid, y'all learn from some teachers, or y'all have books, all of y'all listen to the shehu. What happens as a responsibility for y'all to clarify these issues of confusion? What is your responsibility in that?
The responsibility is to continue to teach and address these matters of these people that's doing this stuff. You know, because a lot of them really just don't understand the fact that you cannot lay claim to something without actually having definitive evidence on who said what you are saying. Who was saying what you are saying? Oh wow, subhanallah.
What, you have problems over there? I hear you. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, alhamdulillah.
So here's my question, because you said that most of those people who are perverting the Maliki school in terms of the creed of the Malikis. And I think, okay, here comes Jomo. I love you guys, man. Oh, Imam Naim, you had a switch. Okay, let me take you out. Go ahead, Imam Naim. Oh, now let me ask you a question. You mentioned Ibn Hazm. So who among the Malikis that are among the reliable scholars in the Maliki school whose opinion is held strong in the Maliki school and is the relied upon opinions were Ash'ari since the time of the formulation of the school? Imam Naim, you want to take that? Or Imam, whoever wants to take that. Did you hear my question, Imam Naim?
Yeah, I heard your question. That's a hard one to answer. The reason why it's hard to answer, because I think you would have to ask the question the other way. Which of the Maliki scholars were not Ashari? I mean, that's
yeah, that's true, but also an easier way, right? But what I mean, so you're saying all of them. So by way of example, could y'all give us some of the main relied upon Maliki scholars who are definitely Ash'ari, and where would we see the sign of them being Ash'ari? So either one of y'all, it doesn't matter.
You can go ahead.
In regards to relied upon Ash'ari, so I just read one of the comments. I'm gonna ignore the comment. However, in regards to the relied upon Ash'ari scholars, yeah, I'm getting like texts and calls and all this stuff. So you have Imam Ibn Abi Zayd, right? You have Imam Ibn Abi Zayd. You have Qadi Iyad al-Andalus. You have Qadi Abu Bakr Ibn al-Arabi al-Andalus. All right, all three, all of them was Ash'ari. Right now, those imams before him, between him and Imam Malik, they wasn't Ash'ari. However, their agreement, they were all in agreement with each other in regards to the manhaj, to the creed of the Salaf.
So
in regards to the creed of the
you're
Salaf,
talking about,
and you have latter scholars among the Maliki school who were predominantly known to revive the Sunnah and revive the school in regards to fiqh and creed, fiqh and tasawwuf. Many of them don't want to mention Imam Sahnun because Imam Sahnun was a Sufi, hands down.
But I want to stick to the creed aspect, because one of the things that happen is we branch out and we run away from the conversation and never get answered, right? So, because if we saying, for instance, if I say among the relied upon Shafi'is who are Ash'ari, like to know our school, so if I say in Al-Fiqh, the Shafi'i school, and these great Shafi'i scholars were Ash'ari. So then if we mention them, we would go like in the whole school, right? After the time of Imam al-Ash'ari, the great scholars of the Shafi'i school who contribute to the fiqh of the school, like Imam al-Juwayni, like Imam al-Ghazali, like Imam al-Rafi, like Abu Ishaq al-Shirazi, like Imam al-Nawawi, like Imam al-Ramli, like Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, on and on and on. These are the relied upon scholars in the school. All of those books, the major books of the Shafi'i school, the authors were Ash'ari. All the books that we study, the authors were Ash'ari, right? So this is like well known. So my same point as a Maliki, what are the major books in al-fiqh? Because Maliki, we're talking about fiqh, that says, hey, these were also Ash'ari. And here's the evidence of that from their own stuff, from their own books. You follow my point? Because other than that, it's just a claim without an evidence. And you know those people, they're gonna say, where's your proof? Right? So we should have an evidence supporting that. You follow what I'm saying? You with me?
No, I follow you. I follow you.
So like you said, Qadi Iyad, right? Which is well known. He was Ash'ari, right? And so you mentioned others. But in the Maliki school, when we're talking about the fuqaha, right? Or al-mujtahidun fil madhab, those qualified scholars in the school, you're talking about from the time of Imam Ash'ari, when he died in 324, to our time, you're talking about 1,100 years of Maliki scholars all over the planet, right? We should exactly be able to show that for sure this was the Maliki school, These are the relied upon scholars in the Maliki school, and they were Ash'ari. By name, by century, by place. You follow my point?
Mm-hmm.
If we can work on that, that would be great. Because at the end of the day, if we want to inspire, like someone come tell me the Shafi'i and I'm not Ash'ari, I'm gonna laugh at them, right? And that's how I'm gonna prove it. Just like that. Like you're not Shafi'is are Ash'ari, right? Here are our scholars. This is the way they were, right? So we should have that kind of discussion. So just think about it and write some of them down. Somebody's online, Brother Najib. Can you see his comments? He's on YouTube. He's laying them out. I love him. He's getting it. Go ahead, Najib. Do your thing. Right? He's putting them out, right? But I'm Shafi'i. I told you I'm a closet Maliki, so I can't do it for y'all. Y'all got to do it yourself. Right? Go ahead, Brother Jomo. Alim Wasalim. How you feeling, Habibi? Welcome home.
Alhamdulillah, barakallahu feekum. It's good to be around my bros. I saw the brother Imam Abu Muhammad. I said, let me chime in, inshallah ta'ala. But basically, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Just wanted to chime in with the brothers, basically. You know, I know the title of the show is about the Ash'ara, which is alhamdulillah. But I just wanted to say that the Hanabila are here as well. You know, I mean, I was Ash'ari for many, many years, as you know, Imam Muhammad. I mean, you know, but recently I've been studying with the Hanabila. And the Hanabila are Ahlul Sunnah as well. That's really the only thing I really wanted to chime in and say. And I know there's some confusion around the Hanabila because the Wahhabiyya, they claim Hanabila as well. But there's a clear difference between what they claim to be and who the Hanabila really are, really. But when you look between the Hanbali madhab and the Ash'ari madhab, it's basically the same thing. It's just maybe a few different issues, you know, that are a little bit different. And if you go look deeply enough, somebody can say, well, it just might be a linguistic issue, you know, in terms of difference. But basically, it's basically the same madhab with just a few differences that you could count on one hand, literally.
So we would all agree, and from what you're saying, because what happened to the Hanbali madhab is the same thing that we see today happening to the Maliki madhab. May Allah protect the Shafi'is from such things. Right? Stop, you're not gonna have some fun, right? And the Hanafis, they have been protected.
No, we wouldn't necessarily say that because the contamination and the pollution which afflicted the Hanabila took place very much a lot earlier than what we are seeing now. See, we have, you know, 1100, 1200 years of, you know, history to debunk that. But, you know, a lot of these, huh?
Debunk what? Which point?
The fact that the Malikis were also Ash'ari in creed.
Oh, you talking about in relation to the Hanabila?
Right. This
Okay.
is a modern attack amongst the Malikis.
Right. That's what I said.
Yeah, but it's almost an ancient attack amongst the Hanbalis that being afflicted with this.
Yeah, go ahead, Jomo. He hit you in the stomach.
Well, I mean, it doesn't.
I'm side narrating. Black, so we gotta have some fun with this.
It was some early issues amongst the Hanabila. It was early issues amongst the Shafi and the Hanafis as well, because many of the Shafis were Mu'tazila, and many of the Hanafis had issues as well. So I mean, Imam Ash'ari, before he became the great Imam that he is, he was Mu'tazila. That's clear. That's well known. So it's not the truth. We don't look at, you know, we look at what the people practice, the truth amongst the men, not what the problem makers did. I mean, Ibn Khuzaymah, the great hadith master who was Shafi, he was a Mujassim. Everybody knows that. You know, that's
But it never poured into the school.
Well, I mean, no, not.
No one ever would say the Shafi'is are al-Mujassima. No one would say the Shafi'is are Mu'tazila. The Shafi'is are al-Asha'ira. As we was talking about the Malikis, no one would say the Malikis are Mu'tazila.
That's
The
true about them.
But about the Hanabila, it was ma'ruf بين الناس الحنابلة هم المجسمة والمشبهة في زمانهم in that time.
Well,
In their time,
not all, but they did have an issue. That's well known.
right, right. So I mean, and I think that's what has happened. Even though there were always great Hanabila
exactly
who had the correct creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, which is testified by great scholars like Tajuddin al-Subki. That's why he used the term Fudala min al-Hanabila. He mentioned that for a reason, not just he
exactly.
was. We know the Hanabila among them were Ahl Sunnah.
Exactly.
Right. However, because their madhab was so filled with al-Mujassima and al-Mushabbiha, it became almost synonymous. When you say Hanbali, you mean Mujassima or Mushabbiha. Now, that's the job of the Hanbalis, who are Ahl al-Haq, to clarify that. You see my point?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
because
what
when we think of Hanbali today, you think of Saudi Arabia, right? Or Gulf states, which are Wahhabi.
If a person wasn't educated about
right,
the
so our job is to do education.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
So, but what happens is a lot of times, many of us don't do the education part.
Right.
We just want to pass it off in the midst of confusion. You have to do the education part, right? It's the same thing with us, because among my asanid are asanid of Ahl al-Bayt, right? And our asanid are unbroken through Ahl al-Bayt. However, among Ahl al-Bayt were those who perverted the school of Ahl al-Bayt from Ja'far as-Sadiq, and they became Shia. When among us, all of our teachers after Ja'far as-Sadiq, down to the time of Imam Ahmed bin Isa al-Muhajir, they were like between Imam Ash'ari and Imam Malik. After Imam Ahmed bin Isa al-Muhajir, who is only 2 generations, the great-great-grandson of Imam Ja'far ibn Sadiq, Ahmed bin Isa bin Muhammad bin Ali Uraida bin Ja'far al-Sadiq. Only three people between them. His father Isa, his grandfather Muhammad, his great-grandfather Ali al-Uraidi, then Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. And all of them were Sunni, and the evidence of that, after Sayyidina Imam Ja'far Ahmed ibn Isa al-Muhajir, his son Ubaidullah and his son Alawi, where we get the name Ba Alawi, all Ahl al-Bayt, all of them Asha'ira. Over 1,000 years, right? No confusion, no doubt about it. And even when they went to the Hadramaut Valley, what was filled with Shia, they were the ones who defended the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah against the Shia. You follow my point? So I think that type of clarification needs to come as we're talking to the Malikis. Among those who say Hanbalis are not Mujassima and Mushabbiha, I think the onus is on them to explain that, not on the Shafi'is or Hanafis or Malikis. Would you agree?
Absolutely. We absolutely have to know how to defend the Hanbali madhab. But in a nutshell, I want to take the conversation to a student of knowledge level, right? And my point would be that as a student of knowledge, as you grow in your religion and you grow in your knowledge of your religion, we know that following the madhab in aqidah is not like following the madhab in fiqh. It's what you personally have to believe, right? It's not a person doesn't make taqleed of in aqidah, right? Does a person make taqleed in aqidah? Isn't a person is responsible to believe, to have his beliefs and to be able to prove it on his own, not to say I believe it because
that's not an agreed upon opinion among all the scholars of al-Aqidah. In fact, the scholars of Aqidah, which is the most common people, are mukallad in Aqidah. The difference is that the taqleed has to be based on a sound conviction.
Right.
In
Right.
such
This
a
is what
case
I mean. You
that
have to
if the
believe it.
one whom you make taqleed of was to leave that creed, you would remain steadfast.
Right.
According to that taqleed is valid.
But this is what I mean. You have to be able to believe it on your own. But I say all that to say, right, that the creed of the Hanabila is tafweed, which is the creed, which is the well-known creed of the majority of the Salaf, as we all know, like what Imam Nawawi said, right? To believe in the ayats of the attributes of Allah Ta'ala and remain silent. That's the Hanabila. That is Ahlul Sunnah.
Right. And that is the Ash'ariyah too.
Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. This is the point that I want to maintain, to say that this is why the Hanabila are Ahlul Sunnah. Flat like that.
So but here's why the context would be, and that's what the same thing we're having to say now. Because if we all agree on certain things, especially in our communities, we got to be loud and clear about that. It can be no ambiguity, because among us are those who are saying completely different from what we are saying. And some of us allow those who are saying different from what we're saying to join our ranks against those who are saying the same thing we say. If you follow my point?
Absolutely. If
I see that happening a lot.
If a person says that he's a Hanbali in Aqidah and he doesn't believe in tafweed, he's not Hanbali in creed at all. The Hanbali, I don't care who he is. If it's a scholar, and if he says if he says tafweed is a bid'ah, that's not the Hanbali method, flat out.
But will we realize there are a whole region of Hanabila who say what you just said?
Oh, yeah, we know about that.
And in America, there are Hanabila that are moving around, spreading the Hanbali school and saying that tafweed, ta'wil, all that is bid'ah.
Yeah, but this is wrong. They haven't studied the works of the big imams of the Hanbali method.
So that's the job of the Hanbalis among us. And I'm speaking, and I want to say this clear. This conversation between us is a necessary conversation in the Black community, right? So a lot of us have left our Blackness for knowledge. And listen to what I mean by that. So we have spokesmen for us who don't live in our reality, while we do. And those spokesmen would have us living in their reality and not in ours, while we live with the problem. If you understand what I mean, if you follow me.
Yeah,
so
I'm following you.
If we're learning, then we have to do that job. Can't no one do it for us. I can't go get my big brother. I got to get on there and I got to do it. Because my big brother is not the one dealing with the problem. I am.
Absolutely.
If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, we got to be in the trend. I agree with that 100%.
So what we're doing here, and this is just the beginning of it, is because we're actually, would you agree that we have a problem? The Shafis, who are Ash'ari, the Hanbalis, who are Hanabila in creed, the Malikis, who are Ash'ari, the Hanafis, who are Maturidi. All of us, especially in the African-American community, are facing tajsim wa tashbih min al-Wahhabiyya with various names. Will we agree with that?
Absolutely.
There's no disagreement in that, right?
No disagreement whatsoever.
So that's the responsibility of all of us. Not one of us, not two of us, all of us, because we all see this danger.
And I would add to that the Hanabila amongst us should be at the forefront of confronting them. Why?
Right, I agree.
Why? Because they wearing our cloak. They're wearing our cloak. So it's up to us to be on the forefront to say, no, that's not your cloak. That cloak does not belong to you. You're not representing the madhab. I mean, anybody can say they can follow any madhab in fiqh, but as far as the creed, no, this is what it is right here.
I also want to add, I think when we have these type of conversations, like I think if the people that are watching right now, I think if they were really honest, and a lot of them wouldn't have understood half of what we just said. I think our conversation, even though we may think is basic to us, but most of our people who we are concerned about, a lot of them don't know what Tatwil is. They don't know what Tafweed is. Some don't know what Ashari is. So a lot of them don't know. And these are basic terms, and they don't know it.
All right, I'm
And
gonna
so
go
I
first.
think when we have these type of conversations, we have, if we really concerned about our people, we have to slow walk them and get them to understand all of these basic concepts so they can understand how they've been tricked.
Imam Naeem, you got about 20 minutes before your class. Can you
Right.
please do what you just said? I gotta go pray real quick. You just said it, so you gotta do it. And
Yes.
y'all got 3 of y'all right now. Take off your mics from mute and go for it. I'll be right back.
Alhamdulillah. So I think, can one of y'all explain, because one of the two of the terminologies that were just mentioned were tafweed and ta'wil. Can someone explain those two terms?
I can talk about tough weed. Tough weed means to recite the ayats that have the attributes of Allah Ta'ala, to recite them and to leave their meanings to Allah Ta'ala, to recite them and remain silent. That's what tafweed is in a nutshell, in layman's term, without getting extravagant and using any, out of big terminologies or narrations. Tafweed means to recite the ayats concerning the attributes of Allah Ta'ala and leave the meanings with Allah Ta'ala. Khalas. That's what tafweed is.
Alhamdulillah. I agree. And I want to expound on that a little bit before we even move to ta'wil. Like, say, for example, in the Quran, you have many attributes or things that Allah describes himself with. Like, for example, Allah is attributed with the attribute of, for example, this is just one, yed. And we all know, well, many of us know, just like in any language, uh, yed in Arabic, one of the meanings for yed is hand. Just like in English, hand means hand. But yed also has other meanings, right? And so what Jomo is saying, when we read in the Quran or the Hadith, and Allah says about himself, or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam attributes to Allah a yed, we don't say, nor do we think hand. Why don't we think hand? Because hand is an attribute of creation, and Allah is not like his creation. And as proper adab or mannerisms with Allah, we don't even translate it as hand. So tafweed would be, we just leave it alone, like Jomo said. Yet we recite it, we believe in it, and we keep moving. And this is the problem. Most of our translations, when we see that, they would say yed. And so it kind of like, they would say hand in the English translation, for example. And so this sort of kind of like paves the way. So when our people are reading translations and it says, for example, Allah's hand is over their hands, right? And then when we get into this discussion about Akida, someone who doesn't know will say, Allah says he has a hand, right? It says it right there in the Quran. And those of us who know will say, Allah does not say he has a hand. Allah says he has a yed. Then the person might say, well, what does yed mean? Then the one who knows will say, well, yed means a lot of things. We automatically would disqualify the meaning of hand for Allah because hand is an attribute of creation. And Allah says, Laysa kamithlihi shay, that there's nothing like him. Right? And so he explained tafweed. And so tafweed is, we ain't even gonna try to figure out what it means. Allah said what he said, we believe it, and we keep going. We don't translate it, we don't give it no kind of meaning. We just keep going. Am I correct?
Perfectly correct.
Alhamdulillah. You like to add to that?
No, you said
Well,
you covered it all, Sheikh. Go ahead, Imam Muhammad, Abu Muhammad. Go ahead, Tafadhal.
alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. In regards to ta'wil linguistically means meaning. All right, because in the ayat of Surah Ali Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that only He knows the ta'wil. So generally it means meaning. However, in regards to attributes of Allah, even the ayat that you had quoted, Yadullah Foka Aidihim, that if you was gonna figuratively and use ta'wil to explain folk Allah, you'll use a figurative interpretation, which is also a general meaning of ta'wil. All right, it doesn't mean that there is no meaning. It only means that Allah Ta'ala knows the true meaning, and whatever figurative interpretive meaning that you give it, figurative interpretation that you give it, you also know that that is not the definite and true meaning, and you also have to confirm that. Even when you define yet, right? You define yet in the Arabic language, even according to fiqh. You mean yet is from the fingertips to the shoulder. When we make wudu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wash the hand, arm up to and including the elbow, right? And some permissibility, you can go all the way up to the shoulder. So this consists of a definition of meaning of what is interpreted for yet in Arabic. In regards to fiqh, Allah Ta'ala does not have an arm. Allah Ta'ala doesn't have any body parts. He's free from that, of any likeness of creation. So you have ta'wil in general, and then you have what is figurative interpretation. It is also related to tafsir. What is also related to tafsir? It's also ta'wil tafsili, where the mufassirin, they give figurative interpretation to these things, which they don't contradict each other in their interpretation as well.
Alhamdulillah. So to clarify, Imam Muhammad Abdullah Amin, we move from tafweed to ta'wil, and ta'wil is that term is usually translated as figurative interpretation. So what he's saying is that, like, for example, the attribute, let's stick to the same attribute yet that we've been using as an example. In the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said many different times, Yadullah al jama'ah. The yet of Allah is with the community, is with the jama'ah, right? And a lot of times you see that hadith translated wrongly, the hand of Allah is over the jama'ah, right? Yes, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave or attributed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the attribute of yet. But in an example of ta'wil, like for example, that hadith, it appears in the Sunan of Abi Dawud. And some of the scholars have made ta'wil or figurative interpretation of what yet means in that particular hadith. And they have said that yed means Allah's protection and his victory, right? So we wouldn't translate that hadith as Allah's hand is over the Jamaat. We would say Allah's protection and his victory is with the community or the Jamaat, right? And so, and as Imam said, that's when the scholars do ta'wil, that's an example of ta'wil. We didn't just say yet means yet, we believe in it and we keep it moving. We're saying it's a possible meaning of what yet means in this particular circumstance. And yet attributed to Allah may mean something else in another circumstance, in another ayat of Quran, or another hadith. So, and did I characterize or qualify what you said properly?
Alhamdulillah, you explained it very well.
Alhamdulillah. So Imam, I mean, we were just having a discussion and explaining tafweed and ta'wil.
Where'd Jomo go?
He had to leave.
Oh boy, here we go. No, I'm joking. um, where'd Muhammad go? He had to leave too? Prayer time. Somebody put a private chat. That's y'all?
Yeah.
Oh, he had to go. See, here's my thing, right? And I'm glad y'all discussed that, right? Where's Abu Ghani? Hey, this guy, man. Where's Abu Isa? Where you at, Habibi? I see you in the comments. Come on out here. Let me give you the link. Stop being in the comments. Come on. Come on live. Stop being in the comments. Come on. Come. Right. We black people. Come on, let's go. You don't have to be in the comments. Come on, let's go. Where you at? You're welcome. Come on, Abu Isa. Ahlan bikum. I'm messing with my brothers. I love them. You know that. But here's the thing. This is what I see as a problem. And let me put that link up again, just in case Abu Isa cannot see it. Right? And Abdul Kabir, if you want to join in, we got like 10 minutes. And Imam Naeem has to go, and we're going to go with him.
Actually, I have to go right now because I have to pray Maghrib before we
all right, we got to bring
do
this
our
to
class.
close. Dag, just when it's, but hey, it's a start. Maybe tomorrow's Jumu'ah, we can forget about it. I don't know. When we get another time, we'll come back. We'll arrange. We'll arrange another time. But this is what I see. What I would like to see quickly is a movement of African American Sunnis. Oh, here come Abu Isa. Where you at? You ain't show up yet. Abu Isa, your picture there? Your internet don't work, right? No, let's see.
Assalamu alaikum.
Abu Isa, your picture there? Your internet don't work, right?
Mashallah.
Your video working?
Hold on.
He's in Egypt. It's only like 12 o'clock at night. He's good. The
Assalamu
party's
alaikum.
done.
Inshallah, I'll see y'all later. I'll catch
Alright,
what
good.
I missed later, inshallah.
Abu Isa,
Assalamu
alright.
alaikum.
Hey, please, Imam Naeem, do y'all have your link? Can you put it up? We're going to go right out and then join your class. Could you put your link in the box? Go ahead, Abu Isa. What was on your mind? You just saying in the comments, my brother?
What was on my mind? I wasn't really saying much. I was saying that clarifying tafweed to be that you it's a general interpretation, right? So you call it in Arabic tafweed al-ijmali.
Right.
You reject the we call it literal in meaning of the attribute. You reject it. That doesn't befit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you do you have a general understanding of the ayah or the hadith, and you leave the meaning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brother,
That's what the Ash'ariyah say. So what's different?
nothing, as Jomo told you.
Oh,
It's pretty
okay.
much the same.
I saw you say that's the way you see it, and I didn't
No,
say
that was to something else. The brother Farouk Thomas, he was saying something about the Hanabila was spared or something like this to by the Wahhabiyya.
No, that's not true. All right, so in actuality, what you're noticing that the only difference that you as Hanabila that are today, because you do recognize in the Hanbali school, there is a big problem that was spread of Tetsim. You do recognize that, right?
a big problem within the Hanbali school. When you say that, what exactly do you mean? Can you clarify that?
Among the people who are known as Hanabila throughout the ages, from the time of Sayyidina Imam Ahmad radiallahu ta'ala anhu to our day now, ila yawmina hadha, in the Hanbali school, there has been a predominance of al-Mujassima and Mushabbiha calling themselves Hanabila. We would agree with this, right?
No.
You won't?
No, I won't.
Okay, quickly. You need to have some evidence for that. Can
You
you
made
give
the
me a
claim, man.
statement of
You should be able to
Hanbalis
prove.
that are well known that were not Mujassima? Can you give it to me?
Can I give you what now?
Give me a Senate, well-known ascendant, Isnad, forget it, Asanidul Hanabila, not just one, multiple Turuk of Al-Hanabila from our time today to Imam Ahmed, all of who are not Mujassima or Mushabbiha or not accused of it. Can you do that?
Yeah, I could, but here's the thing. You made the claim.
No.
Were
Let's
the
not play
scholars
games.
that were
If you can do it, what would be nice is you provide it because we need it. So we don't got to play games. I made the claim. You made the claim.
There's no
I don't know. I don't know of
You made the
one.
claim that the majority or the preponderance of the Hanabila have been Mujassima or Mushabbiha.
Or claimed
who were
of
these
that,
Mujassima, who were these
that,
Mushabbiha?
or accused of that. Let me make the claim.
Okay, who
all
are
of
they?
the Sanid that are well known among the Hanabila extend most of them to Ahmed ibn Taymiyyah, who was Mujassim, who was Mushabbih. According to who?
Yeah.
According to all of Ahl Sunnah, except those Hanabila who agreed with him.
Really?
Not now. All right, let's study Ahl Sunnah. Besides the Hanabila, who among
I mean, if you're talking about a Hanbali Senate, right?
I actually,
you're talking about a Hanbali Senate, and you're gonna say that it needs to agree with everybody else because
I didn't say that. I said, show me that. All right, listen clearly. Let's not beat around the bush. I'm very clear with my words.
There's no beating around the bush.
Okay.
You said the majority of the Hanabila, the ulama from the Hanabila, were either Mushabbiha or Mujassima.
Now, all right, correct? Add more than I said. Add more to what I said. Don't stop there. Or were accused of it, right or wrong?
Or were accused of it.
Right.
Can you give me the names other than Ibn Taymiyyah? Who the Hanabila do not agree?
Abu Ya'la was accused of it. Abdurrahman ibn Jawzi mentioned that this was a stain on the Hanbali madhab, not me. Abdurrahman al-Hafidh, Abdurrahman ibn Jawzi al-Hanbali, Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, they mentioned these issues in their books. Not me, I'm not Hanbali.
Yeah, Ibn Rajab mentioned who was the Mujassima.
They mentioned the problem of Mujassima among al-Hanabila.
Who did Ibn Rajab say was the Mujassima?
Listen to my point. Do you know this or not? I'm asking you this.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Am I wrong or right? Let's not play games.
Ibn Jawzi?
Listen, let's not play games. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, no. Was a Mujassim. Yes.
Okay, so you're well aware of what I'm saying, right?
Very.
So what's the point? If you know what I'm saying, why are you having such a discussion and you know exactly what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question. What was Ibn Jawzi's aqidah?
No. Just answer that one question.
What was Ibn Jawzi's aqidah?
Listen, if you already know exactly what I'm saying, why are we playing word games?
There's no word game. What was Ibn Jawzi's aqidah?
And you know that.
What was Ibn Jawzi's aqidah?
Ibn Jawzi didn't ascribe to Allah attributes that non-befitting. Ibn Jawzi Ibn Jawzi at times made tafweed. His books are clear. That's not ambiguous. Am I right or wrong?
Was wajh a sifa to Ibn Jawzi?
Let me ask you a question.
Was wajh a sifa to Ibn Jawzi? There's no game. What are you talking about?
Let me ask you a question.
Answer the question.
Let me ask you a question. Are we going to ask questions with questions, or are you going to just be honest?
Again, you're attacking the Hanabila again.
No, I stop. Forget that. I'm going to ask you a question. Stop. Let me ask you a question. Did Ibn Jawzi make tafweed? Yes or
At
no?
times. At times,
Did
yes.
Ibn Jawzi make ta'wil?
At times.
Is that the position of the Ash'aris?
Sure.
That's a question.
Sure.
So why are we playing games? Why are we playing
Okay.
games? You
Let me ask
already
you a
know
question.
what I'm saying. You said yes. Question. Did Ibn Rajab in his books, and he has many, so you can pick whatever one you want, did he make ta'wil in his books? Yes or no?
Not that I've seen, no.
He never made ta'wil in his books.
Not that I've seen, no.
What books do you know of Ibn Rajab? What books do you know of Ibn Rajab?
I know a few. I don't know many.
Give me one. A famous one.
A famous one.
Yes.
I'm not sure. Give me one.
Okay. So Ibn Rajab has a commentary with extended hadith on the hadith of Imam Nawawi, right? In that book, right?
Jami Ulum.
Jami Ulum wal Hikam is written by Ibn Rajab. Is there ta'wil in that book? Yes or no?
Not sure.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you yes. And if you want, next time I'll show you the book and I'll show you the ta'wil.
Okay, what was
right?
the ta'wil?
Right? I said I'm gonna show you the book and I'm gonna show you the ta'wil, Mr. Hanbali. Right?
Okay, do you have a general understanding of the
You don't
ta'wil?
gotta do that.
Give me a
I'm
general
gonna show you the
ta'wil.
book and I'm gonna show you ta'wil. So we don't gotta go through that. I'm gonna show you the book. I'm gonna get the book and I'm gonna invite you on live and I'm gonna show you the book. So we don't gotta say, no, listen, no games. I'm gonna show you the book. So we can leave it alone because you said you didn't read the book. Okay, that's fine. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm gonna show you the book. Right? I'm gonna show you the book. I'm gonna show you the books of Ibn Jawzi, where he actually mentioned the Mujassima in the school. He said that, not me.
Yeah. Ibn
He's a
Jawzi.
Hanbali. Now,
Ibn
Ibn Jawzi is a Hanbali,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah. He
Okay.
is.
He mentioned
Now-
it, right?
Now
You are
you
aware
bring
that
up
he
Ibn
mentioned
Jawzi. You bring up Ibn Jawzi, right? As if he agreed with the Ash'ari because of tafweed or ta'wil, this and that. But the thing is that Ibn Jawzi's his aqidah didn't match up with yours or mine.
What you mean? What was his
Hanbali
aqidah
aqidah,
different
nor
from
the
mine?
Ash'ari.
Okay, what was
Ibn-
his aqidah different from mine? Tell me, what was different?
These things you call sifat. You call them are they sifat or idafat?
This is terminology.
It's not
And if you're so
terminology. Is it a
smart,
sifa or not?
let
Is
me
it a
ask
sifa
you a
or not?
question.
Are they
Is
sifat
that,
or not?
let me ask you a question. Are you talking about istila, terminology, or are you talking about ma'ani? Which one you talking about? Since you want to be smart.
Is wedge.
Since you've been
Is it
studying
a
Egypt,
sifa
you want to be
or is it
smart.
idafa?
Are you talking about
Sifa or idafa?
terminology, or
Is
you
it a
talking about
sifa or
meaning?
idafa? Yeah, Imam. I mean,
Listen. Stop playing
simple.
games. If you're
There's
going to
no
play
games.
games, we're not going to have a discussion.
There's no discussion. What are you talking about? There's never a discussion with you.
All right,
This is
listen.
what you do. You did it the
You
last
asking
time.
my question.
You did it the
didn't
last
answer
time.
the question. Because you're saying you're playing terminology games.
I'm playing
And
terminology.
you know from studying, there is no consideration in terminology. We're talking about meanings, not terminology. So even among the Ash'ari, we have those terminological difference within the Ash'ari school. So what are you talking about? Between the
The point
Ash'ari
is
and
what?
Maturidis, you have, is this a sifa or is it an ism? Is this, what type of sifa? This is terminology. It has nothing to do with meanings. Stop it.
Again, sifa or idafa. Simple.
Stop it.
Simple.
No one's playing those games. Most of the
Not a
people you're
game.
talking to know
Okay.
nothing about this type of terminology.
You do.
Stop it.
You do.
It's
Right?
irrelevant. I'm not trying to impress.
It's irrelevant.
I'm trying to tell us the end point. Did Ibn Jawzi, which we all want to know, did Ibn Jawzi attribute to Allah non-befitting attributes? Yes
No.
or no?
No, you did not.
Did Ibn Jawzi do figurative interpretation? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Did Ibn Jawzi at times do tafweed, resign the meaning to Allah? Yes or no?
Yeah, you did.
Do the Ash'aris attribute to Allah non-befitting attributes? Yes or no?
No.
Do the Ash'aris do ta'wil?
Yeah.
At times. Do the Ash'aris do tafweed?
Yeah.
So what is the difference in reality from the Aqidah of Imam Ibn Jawzi al-Hanbali and the Aqidah of the Ash'ari in reality.
I
Forget
just told you.
terminology.
I
What's
just told
the
you.
difference?
I just told you.
Okay, what's the difference? Tell me.
I just told what I just told you.
What is it? I didn't hear you. Maybe I
You
was
wasn't
out.
listening, obviously.
Okay, go ahead. What's the difference in the Aqidah and the end result? The end result of their creed, what is the difference?
I mean,
I'm listening. You got my full
no, you're
attention.
not. No, you don't. No, I don't.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Listen, man. It's simple. As I told you, there's a difference between the Aqidah of the Hanabila and the Aqidah or the Madhab of Aqidah of Ibn Jawzi.
Okay, what is it?
Meshi?
What is it?
We say certain things are sifat. The Ash'ari say certain things are sifat. Ibn Jawzi said they are not sifat. We have
Okay.
no evidence that they're sifat.
Okay.
They are idafat.
What is meaning
You're
by
saying,
idafat? What is the meaning of idafat? Because you're speaking Arabic to people who don't speak Arabic. So what is the meaning of idafat?
I'm talking to you.
I'm not the only one here.
I'll tell you what, these are your students that are listening, right?
No, not all of them. It's people listening. We're live, public.
Who are
Answer
they?
the question. What is idafat? I'm not
Who
impressed.
are they?
What are idafat?
There's nothing to be impressed about.
Okay, what are
Nothing to be
idafat?
impressed
Use
about.
the word. Explain it. What do you mean? What is the difference between as-sifa wal idafa? What's the difference? Tell me. You used it, so you should be able to explain it. Nobody speaks Arabic. Tell me what it means. Explain. You said it. Explain what you mean. I'm not impressed with your Arabic. Tell me what you mean. Don't get, that's what I thought. I hate to be so hard on y'all, but stop playing games with my people. Stop playing games with my people. You intentionally playing games with our people. That's not cool. And you should be explained to you that that's not cool. It's not. So because you leave, because you don't want to, stop using the terms if you can't explain them. Don't use them. You just said that the creed is the same, and then you go and try to make a difference. It doesn't make sense. His books are clear on the issue, and you come and you want to say it's acceptable. That's why I said just bring the books. It's easier. It's much easier to say that this means this, and what is understood is this, and what is understood is this. It's easy, right? So I think this is our problem, right? It's a very big problem that we, among our people, won't even be honest with each other. This is hurtful, and we can't allow it to continue. It's not a debate. We're brothers, but we should be able to do what? Be honest. We should be honest with each other. Why are we playing games? All right, we got to go catch Imam Muhammad. You want to? They're going to secretly make our people Wahhabi if we be silent. That's what's going to happen. Muhammad, you want to close out? What's your last thoughts?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, alhamdulillah, it's clear, but so from what I kind of understand, what he's saying is that Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, he said idafat is not a sifat. That idafat is I forgot the meaning, but it's his belief about certain attributes, like yet and other attributes, not these particular attributes, but like it's the why, or he should have explained it a little bit more. What it is. Just saying what it is, it would have been clear. But that's what he was talking about. That his creed was different from the Hanabila in regards to attributes or
But
sifats.
you know, one of the things I used to say to my sheikhs, right? Because we studied Aqidah technically, right? With technical terms, which most of those technical terms, most of us will never understand, right? That's scholarly talk. The end result is this. That's what we're concerned about. So the end result of the thing is we have a problem of people who liken Allah to his creation. That's the end result of it. Are you and you agree that Ibn Jawzi or those great Imam of the Hanbali school who themselves complained about this issue, right? It's an issue. I'm not running from that issue because while we run from the issue, our people are being misguided. You understand my point? For me, that's
Understand your
serious.
point.
You running from the issue with terminology, while my people are being poured down in their communities with anthropomorphism. And you know it, and you just won't say what it is because you want to protect the name. Come on, this is not cool. But this is what we're dealing with. And it ain't personal, but it's an issue that we have to discuss. We can't run from it. That's it. And then at the end of the day, we'll clarify the issue. But it's going to be painful.
However, Imam Amin, Abu Isa is on our side, man.
I wish
he's on our side. Like I explained to him and Jomo days ago that they got a bigger shoe to fill than any of us, than me, Imam Naeem, anyone who was Maliki that's been in these latter times since the early 2000s that's been bombarded with these guys coming from the Wahhabi movement to taking on the Maliki Madhab and trying to Wahhabicize the creed of the Maliki Madhab. You know what I'm saying? It's a bigger shoe to fill.
But here's my point. If you know what we're saying, it's clear you know what we're saying, and we're on the same team, then what are we discussing? If we're saying the same thing, then what are we discussing? What are we discussing? We both agree, so you say that these attributes are not befitting to be a script ascribed to Allah. Because you want to protect the name, you're going to go behind the meaning? It doesn't make sense. Do you understand my point?
I understand your point.
Saying. If we're saying the same thing, then say the same thing. That's it. And put it in a meaning. Don't make it personal. It's not about Amin Muhammad. Amin Muhammad is not significant. It's not important. We got to take care of the issue. Do you understand my point?
Nah.
So it ain't about trying to prove me wrong. You already know what I'm talking about. So say it. You know exactly what I'm saying. Then say it. That's what we're doing. And we've had private conversations. We've had off the line. If you don't want, you know me. If you say it, I'm going to have the conversation. So stay off our our platform if you don't want to have the discussion. You understand my point? If you don't want to have discussion, we already talking private. Don't get on the platform, right? Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to have the discussion, then don't do it. So that's my point. May Allah help us. But I just say this. We have to do what we have to do to spread the truth. And if you are really on the side of the truth, you do it. You do it. And as I told Brother Jomo, who I knew for years, y'all got that responsibility. Y'all have that responsibility, right? Y'all have the responsibility. Do your job. Don't not do your job. You have the responsibility. You have the knowledge. You know it. You're following the school. Do the job. That's it. Jomo is there. I'm going to give you your chance because you know I love you. Go ahead. It's the link. You can come back in, Jomo. You know I love you. You're my brother. We go way back. But he welcome. Because we having these conversations because this is our problem, right? We deal with it. Would you agree? This is our problem.
Yeah, we do.
This is our problem. We can't run from it. It's plaguing our communities. We can't hide. Good. You up.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Like
alaikum
salam,
salam, Habibi.
What happened when I left? What just happened? Let's talk for real.
Okay.
Let's be black. Let's
be black. I like that. Our boy Issa went to Egypt, learned a few Arabic terms and playing gymnastics. We black. That's what happened.
SubhanAllah. Look.
He went to Egypt, learned a few Arabic terms and playing gymnastics. That's black talk. Now let's go on to act like we scholars. Go ahead.
I mean, no. Well, that's the whole thing too. You know, I am nobody. I'm not a scholar. I'm a fake student and all that. All right. But at the same time, Allah Ta'ala blessed us with something to be able to offer to the community. Right. I don't like to be on front stage speaking all the time because, like you say, when you take that position, you better be firmly grounded in what you're talking about. If you can't speak about what you're talking about and be able to convey it in a way so that the people can understand, it's better to remain silent, right? But Abu Isa, mashallah, he's my brother, he's my Habibi. Right?
And you know I love him too, right? You do know that, right?
I know you do. I don't know what happened just now, right? And I wish you would come back on so we can really talk about this. We don't got to talk because we're already online anyway. So you might as well just come back and let's just talk about it. And that way we ain't talking about it.
But another time he's going to go do the work. You can call him. But you know me. You know me. At the end of the day, here's one thing about online, right? Online, we're mixed with everybody. That's life, right? That's life. That's the life we live. I'm not really interested in a bunch of people who have nothing to do with my reality. I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about people who don't care if all my people get lost. They don't care. It's obvious. I'm not going to be changing the war we're fighting because someone else want to be comfortable while we're being slaughtered. If you know that about me, right or wrong?
Yeah, I know that's where you at. I understand that.
So while I'm sitting here trying to bring my people together, us, away from likening Allah to his creation, to giving Allah non-befitting attributes, to ascribing locations and places to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, I have people who know that's wrong worrying about me. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a nafsi issue.
Yeah, that's a problem.
We got to put that to the side because, like, if we want to bring it back, let's bring it back on topic, right? Let's talk about the Mu'tamad book of the Hanbali Madhab in Aqidah, Al-Ain wal-Athar, and I think you have it in your library.
Of course, you know me.
It clearly says that Allahu mawjudun bila makan. I mean, it's clear.
Okay. You said that. I said that.
He says it too. Abu
so why are we having a discussion?
But what he was trying to say, let me make sure to clarify a little bit what he was trying to say about Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Jawzi. Number one, even though everything you said about Ibn al-Jawzi is correct, Ibn al-Jawzi, according to the Hanbali Madhab, he is not one of the Mu'tamad Imams of the Madhab. That's what he's trying to say.
Are we talking about in fiqh?
In fiqh and aqidah, he is not known in the Hanbali. Like, you know, every madhab has a structure, right?
And Ibn Taymiyyah is?
Ibn Taymiyyah isn't either.
He was defending Ibn Taymiyyah.
I didn't hear him. I don't know what he said.
Oh, go back and listen.
That's a
Muhammad, didn't you hear the same thing?
I didn't hear him mention Ibn Taymiyyah. You guys are talking about Ibn Rajab.
Didn't you hear the same thing?
No, he didn't defend Ibn Taymiyyah.
No, he said that the Ibn Taymiyyah was not Mujassim. Is that the position of the Hanbalis? That's what he said. I said it. He said no. Is that the position of the Hanbalis, Jomo? Ibn Taymiyyah was not Mujassim?
The position of the
His Aqidah is valid?
No, it's not valid. No. He
wasn't accused of Tajsim and Tashbih even by the Hanbalis?
That's well known. Everybody knows this. But the Hanabila say that he repented.
Okay.
They leave his issue with Allah Ta'ala. They don't say he was Mujassim Kafir.
But
right?
we didn't say that. I didn't say nothing about that. What I said, he was accused with Tajsim by the Hanabila.
Yes, we know this. That's clear. That's
okay. Well, why are we having this discussion?
Right. This is what I'm trying to say. I don't understand.
If it's so clear, why are we having this discussion?
Well, I don't know what happened. I think it started out talking about Ibn al-Jawzi, right? So the thing is that, and the thing with Ibn al-Jawzi, even though he may have done ta'wil at times and he did tafweed, I don't know if Ibn al-Jawzi would have been wanted to be called an Ash'ari. That's
all right. Forget that.
Right.
That's the terminology.
Okay.
Did he have the same creed as the Ash'aris? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So what are we talking about?
Okay. Now, what he was talking about, the Idafat. Idafat, right, is different from a sifa because a sifa is a quality of a being, right? A Idafat can be, for instance, like when we say Baytullah, right? Bayt, right, is the mudaf and Allah is the mudaf ilayh. Right, linguistically. So what he's saying that what Ibn al-Jawzi was referring to, that what we call attributes of Allah Ta'ala, they were idafat like the construction Baytullah. For those who understand Arabic, who's watching, that's what he was trying. That's what he was.
Now let me ask you something. That is called terminology. Would you agree?
Yes, it is.
That's terminology.
Yes, it is.
Right.
It does have a distinct meaning, though.
All right, stop. At the end of the day, are the meanings that are being what he's trying to convey as an end result meaning, is all that is to say what?
To not attribute with Allah Ta'ala any non-befitting attributes.
Okay.
Yes. His madhab was a madhab of Tanzih. Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So what are we talking about?
Well, like I said, I came back on here because I didn't like what I just heard. So I wanted to kind of, smooth that over because I don't want people to be saying the Hanabila, to leave with Hanabila Mujassim. And no. Please, let's not leave with that taste in our mouth because people is watching.
Listen, that's your job. I agree with you. That's why I let you back on.
That's why I came back. Yeah, I had to come back.
Hey, that's why I said, listen. Yeah. Here's what won't be understood. We all know each other. We know each other's phone numbers. We talk. We'll do it private, public, because we all supposed to be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And some of us are slacking in that. I'm going to say, yo, man, pull it up. We can't do that.
No.
Right? Like you said, we black.
Yeah, we black. And we out here working. I mean, we doing our little work in our way. It may not be, as obvious to everyone, but we working too.
And guess what? And when we all working, then you got your way of explaining. I got my way of explaining.
No.
At the end of the day, the result's going to be the same, right?
Inshallah.
If we do our job.
Absolutely.
The result is that our people will not be walking around giving Allah non-befitting attributes.
Absolutely. At the end of the day.
That's going to be clear, right?
At the end of the day.
Objective.
That's the objective.
That's it.
We're calling people to Allah Ta'ala.
So should we use terminology to get around that point?
No, we should not use terminology that's going to confuse people. No.
That's it.
And we should be able to convey what we know to the people in a way that they can understand.
That's it. My brother. Barakallahu bikum.
Well, yeah.
And that's the whole point. Now we all got different styles. I'm black. We from the hood. We know how we talk to each other.
No. No.
That's how hey, yo, when we come back from New York, when you in the cipher, you can't go running.
Yeah, or you might get the universal beatdown.
Right, you in the cipher, you gotta bring it. You gotta handle it. That's us. And I'm not getting ready to change that to make some other person feel comfortable. Nah, that's how my people understand.
Yeah.
That's my people. That's who I'm talking to predominantly. They understand our language.
No.
And it's too many people talking to my people in a language that they don't understand, and they end up following more deviant groups because they want somebody to talk to them in a language they understand.
Hey, I want Farouk Thomas to come up here.
But we gotta go. We have to have another discussion.
Inshallah.
We gotta go join Imam Naeem.
Yeah.
And listen. And listen.
Go ahead.
And listen. Hey, it's all love.
No.
So he left. Tell him it's still love. And when he come back, it's gonna be the same. I'm not gonna tone it down just because he's emotional. Tell him to get himself together. I love him.
I want him to come back on here and speak for himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we brothers.
Because he can express himself, but we need to get him back to do it, inshallah.
All right, he's welcome and you're welcome. We brothers. We always gonna do what we gotta do, right? Even when we having the verses, at the end of the day, we're gonna do a hug, right?
Well, look, inshallah, I'm gonna ask you, when you mention Ahlul Sunnah, mention the Hanabila.
I do say that.
If you want to say the Mufawwid, that's fine too.
I said Fudalah Hanabila, as our scholars have said.
Well, you can. We don't really like that term.
You said we are not scholars.
Right.
Sheikh Tajuddin As-Subki. He was Qadi in his time in Egypt and in Sham. He mentioned that Al-Sunnah or Al-Asha'ira wal-Maturidiyya wa Fudala'i min al-Halabila. That's what he said. Why is that not sufficient?
Well, he said that. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion.
He's a great scholar. We agree, right?
Absolutely.
One of the foremost scholars, and we don't know nobody in our time at his rank. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
If you know his rank, I don't know nobody in our time that are known at the rank of Tajuddin As-Subki in knowledge. That's what he said. Why is that not sufficient for us?
Well, not that it's not sufficient, but I mean, the Hanabila don't like it because it carries a stigma to it. Like what you said earlier about the Hanabila being ma'ruf, you know, as Mujassim, you know, it has a stigma to it. But anyway, the point is that the Hanabila, the Mufawwida.
So we did say the Hanabila are Ahl Sunnah, the true Hanabila, right? He did say that. He said, Fudala min al-Hanabila.
I knew that. I knew that. You know, the interesting thing is that, right? I'm gonna just mention this real quick before we leave. The interesting thing is that for us over here, we've been hearing that for years, even before we even started talking about the Hanabila, right? But how many of us have actually met real Hanabila shuyukh? For real.
We haven't.
Exactly. Exactly. But
we met Mujassima saying they're Hanabila, right?
I know that, but the point that I'm trying to make is that they are out here, and alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala guided us to them. Some speak English and some don't.
Right. So what's your job as Hanabila, right? Is to explain that stuff. That's not my job. That's your job.
No, we agree. It's not a problem.
Right? You want me to explain it. Then when I explain it, you say, no, okay, you explain it. But do it. Do you understand my point?
Absolutely. Inshallah.
You want someone to defend the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and you say you're Ahl Sunnah. When we do it, you say we unjust to the Hanabila, but you're not doing it. You're allowing people who you agree have a bad creed to spread in your name, and you won't do anything about it enough that the common people understand.
Inshallah, sometime maybe over the weekend, I have a book that we're going to start reading. We're just going to read, nothing in detail, just reading so people can know the creed of the Hanabila, and it also has some the Maturidi creed and the Ash'ari creed. I have our link. I'll give you the link. Inshallah, everybody who is interested,
we can learn and listen. Ain't nobody opposed to truth. No. But like I say, for us, this is why we did this. For us, we got to take on this banner, right? We have to do this work. We know the result of not doing this work. Not our sheikh. My sheikhs are in Syria and Yemen and Egypt relaxing with their situation. They're not in the hood. I'm being real. They're not dealing with my problem. Not at all. In no aspect. They may care. They may make dua. May Allah give you tawfiq. But they're not on the ground dealing with what I'm dealing with. Right? Their masjids are protected. They're taking over our masjids. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, they are. They trying to put their work in, but we working at the same time as well.
That's what I'm saying. So I can't expect my sheikhs to do my job. My sheikh don't live in the hood. My sheikh ain't dealing with the everyday problems we dealing with. My sheikh ain't dealing with white supremacy. My sheikh ain't dealing with none of that as we are. That's real. That don't mean I don't love him. I do. But sheikh, you can't do my job. I have to do my job. Now, you can teach me how to do it. You can give me the information, but I have to do it. Right or wrong? And guess what? Most of my people have been burnt by people who look like my sheikh. Most of my people have been burnt by people who look like my sheikh. And when I keep telling my people, here's my sheikh, and I go sit in the back, my people go like, oh, you a puppet just like the other ones. No, that's how my people think. We black. Right or wrong? That's us. We got to do our job. That's all I'm saying. And some people might not want us to do the job, so we stay in the same condition. But I don't care what they want. Because I would like to see my people in a better position. And I don't see too many people jumping up front to help us. That's all I'm saying. And if all these guys who disagree with that, then, hey, bro, you don't live in, you don't walk in my shoes. It's the black thing you wouldn't understand. I'm sorry. That's real. I had to tell a brother today, he came and telling me with some guy who's ripping our community about how he feel about what we're doing. Who cares how he feels? He has the resources to change the condition of the black man in America, the black Muslim, Sunni, Ahl Sunnah, and he won't do it. He just is worrying about his people and let us do security and clean the bathrooms. Who cares what he thinks? If you got my point, right? And that's hard stuff, but we men. And men got to take on the mantle of men, period. That's what it is. And they ain't used to seeing black men speak with authority. They used to black men putting their hair down and saying, yes, Sheikh, yes, sir, you're right. No, we're men. And we're going to keep our heads up and we're going to look you in your eyes and tell you we ain't trying to hear that nonsense. That's it. Them days is over for us. All right, I'm done. So make a quick dua and close us out, Jomo. We got to get out of here because we supposed to go see Imam Naeem.
Go ahead, let the Imam Abu Muhammad do it, inshallah.
Whatever, do it however you want to do it. Make it short, but just do it, please.
He's our senior.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره مقداره العظيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank y'all for coming. I love y'all, brothers. Be continued. Right? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.